I started playing the guitar when I was about 13, and my first instrument was saxophone, but if there was a musical instrument around, I would start playing it. Jimmy Witherspoon, who was coming to a club that I used to play all the time, I asked the owner if I could open for him. He said yes. Spoon showed up with only a guitar player. He didn't have a band. And he said, I want you guys to back me up. I'm like, great, you know. And I was already a big Jimmy Witherspoon fan. He was my favorite blues singer. I worked with him for about 2 years, and during that period of time, I was heard by Tom Scott and members of the LA Express, who were about to go out on the road with Joni Mitchell and were looking for a guitar player. So I got a call from Tom, you know, out of the blue. Never heard of him, you know, knew nothing of Joni Mitchell really. And he said, how'd you like to go on the road with Joni Mitchell, you know? And I got together with and played with them and agreed. And that led to everything else, you know. George Harrison came after that, you know, and then my own solo career. That's when things happen. You know, things happen to you at about that age. You know, you get out of school. I mean, I didn't go on to junior high school. I didn't go on to college. I had got no education. I dropped out of high school even. So I'm an uneducated, self-educated kid, you know. And but that's when the energy is really ripe, you know, is in your early 20s. And unfortunately, I think a lot of young people at that time, they don't know what it is they want to do. They don't have any thing that they're like pointed towards, you know. And I knew what I wanted to do since I was 10. So that helps, you know. And you want to do it so badly that you're willing to live with 4 other guys, eat when you can, you know, do whatever you can to get a gig, you know. And you have the fortitude, you have the strength, you know. So everything is really in your favor at that time if you know how to direct it, you know. And most people, I think, they don't really quite know. So they have an idea and they go into college, you know, and they get an education in a field, and then they drop out, you know, spend thousands of dollars, you know, and still don't know what they want to do. The first thing that I say to guitar players is learn chords. And the reason is, if you don't know chords, you can't play anything. And if you know chords, you can play anything. And that in itself is kind of a musical approach, because it's about, well, playing songs, you know. Improvising is a whole nother level. And, you know, there's different ways of improvising. You know, and there are obviously different levels of how good, you know, of an improviser, you know, one is. I've had a career of being a supportive guitar player, of having my own thing, learning to write songs, learning how to record, learning how to produce, and now moving into that stage of my life as a producer. And it's a very natural progression. It took a lot of effort, and I had to stick my neck out constantly, as I'm doing still today, sticking my neck out by moving to Nashville to become a record producer. It's like, what? There's no budgets for records anymore. Producers don't get paid. You know, I'm going to do it anyway. At about that time, when I was about 19, I realized that I didn't know any chords. And so the reason I was beating myself up is because I wasn't learning anything new, you know? And even, like, so I got a book and I started studying chords. And again, I stopped beating myself up when I kind of realized I was never going to be that guy that I thought I was going to be. You know, I wanted to be John Coltrane, you know. I wanted to be a ridiculous guitar player. And that meant a lot of chops, you know. And I sort of finally and it happened in a natural way. It wasn't like I sat down and decided this. It kind of happened in a natural way. I just realized I was never going to be that guy. And I relaxed with that. Coltrane was never happy with his playing, you know? And that hurts. And I know that feeling really well. I know that feeling, man. But by my late 20s, early 30s, and especially, I just relaxed with it and found another way. So, like Miles Davis took up painting, you know? Trust me, Miles Davis was not the greatest trumpet player in the world. He was not. Many people are better trumpet players than Miles Davis ever was. But his musical mind was incredible, you know. Eventually I started, once again, like I wanted to be John Coltrane now, or I wanted to, write music like Wayne Shorter, and I started comparing myself to saxophone players, not guitar players, because I listen to saxophone players. That also is a tip for guitar players. Listen to other instruments. Don't base everything you do on guitar. In fact, I don't listen to guitar players, literally, because I don't want to sound like them. You know, trying to live up to what you think somebody else's standards are is a mistake, you know. So I was reminded, of that I don't care attitude, that I had when I was a kid. But took the arrogance out. Like when you're a kid, you're like, I'm hot stuff, It's like, yeah, smoking cigarettes, You think you're hot. So basically, I just went back to that philosophy without the arrogance. The arrogance is a cover for your fear and your insecurity. So being confident in yourself, that's enough, and just go from there. You're no longer competing. You're no longer comparing yourself to anybody. You just are who you are, and you're happy with that.